Welcome back. So in this session, let's look into the inner chains. Inner chain is a commonly used type of chain that combines two rows from two or more tables based on the related column between them. So inner chain keeps only matching rows. If you look into this diagram, so if you have two tables, which is an employee and employee address, so if the two, whatever the rows that are matching between these two tables, that will be provided as an output when we use the inner chain. So you can chain multiple tables using inner chains. You can uh, chain them using the on class. For example, if you are using an employee table, employee address table, and employee skill set table, so from all these three tables, whatever the rows that are matching between all the tables, those rows will be come as an output for the inner chain query. So normally you will specify which columns you want to select from each table. So and you can also use aliases to improve the readability of this table from the queries, right? So the normal inner chain syntax will be, so select what are the columns that you want to select, or you can use the star, and from table, what is the main table and what is the table that we are joining, the inner chain table 2 on table 1 dot column and table 2 dot column. So basically what exactly happens, it will join the two tables based on this condition, table 1 dot column and table 2 column, and from after combining these two columns, then it will be return the selected columns as an output. With that said, let's look into the queries that we are going to write for the inner chain. So for the first example that we want to use is like combining both employee and employee address table. So and in employee and employee address table, there is a primary and foreign key relationship. The employee ID in the employee table is the primary key, and the same employee ID is an employee address table as a foreign key. So what we are doing, we are joining this employee and employee address tables and trying to fetch the results. The results that we are getting is the employee ID as well as employee address table from this address ID column onwards, right? So what we can do here, right? So if you want to combine or add more tables, we can definitely do. But before we getting into that, let's look into what are the columns that we have into the employee table. How many rows that you have in employee table? Select star from employee. So the rows that you have in employee table is actually around 28 rows that you have, right? And if you see at the same time employee underscore address table, you have total 12 rows, right? So but if you go and run the query, so you are getting hardly till 9 and 10 12 rows we are getting, because in between the employee and employee address tables, maximum 12 rows that are matching, though the employee table has 28 columns around, all the columns are not getting fetched. So whenever you want to join the three tables, yes, you can still do that, 3 or 4 tables. In this particular query, I'll be joining 4 tables, which is an employee address. So this we have seen, right? And I also want to get the what are the skill sets that each employee has. But unfortunately, the employee skill set table has only the skill set ID rather than having that the entire information. If you go and look, so you have select star from employee skill set table. So in this employee skill set table, if you see, you have an employee ID as well as the skill ID. So if I use only 3 tables here, I would be getting the skill ID as an option. But I don't want to have the skill ID. I want to also actually have what is the skill name that you have each employee has, right? For that reason, I am also matching or joining the skill set table. So if you join the skill set table, then you will be having the skill name that each employee has too. So total you got around so if you see, you have a multiple rows because some of the users might have the multiple skills, right? So for that reason, so you are getting the multiple rows as well, and because everything is getting matched, so that's why you are getting these many records. Now if you see this particular data fetch, right, so if you see you have an address id, employee id, an employee id, skill id. So I might not require all this information technically when I'm doing the actual development, because every time I might not need all the tables that all the unused columns in the table. So in that case what we do, we can pass the selected columns that are required, and you can use the same queries that you have. But to pass the selected columns, what I did, I used the aliases. For employee table I used an emp as an alias. Employee address table I used emp address, and employee skill set table I used employees emp skill set, and skill table I use the skill as an alias. So if you see, when we use the alias while fetching the columns also I use the alias, and while fetching the while doing the on operation also I'm using the aliases. So when you use the alias names, so then you will be able to get the required information for you. This is an employee, and his employee name, designation, department, and address line, and city, state, country, skill name. So like this you can get all the information that you need, and you can also mention the specific columns that are required for your application. So with that said, we will stop here on the inner join and then continue looking into the other join discussions. Thank you for watching.